Hi, this is Travis the Tau Templar. What is Yuma Consensus? You've probably heard that it's a fuzzy consensus for probabilistic truths, but is also applicable to binary forms of data. I'm just kidding. We're not going to use any of those fancy words to explain it. Yuma Consensus is how validators come to agreement on raking minor output within Bittensor. Let's dive into a simple example to show how it plays out. Remember, miners do the work, validators check the work, and subnet owners control the work. In our hypothetical subnet, we have 3 validators and 4 miners. Typically, there are hundreds of miners and a handful of validators, but we're trying to make this example simple. So we have a color to text subnet. Validators provide miners with a color, and miners must ascribe the color in text. Validators then rank the miners based on whatever criteria the subnet owner wants. Maybe the subnet owner wants to order them based on text length, or response speed, or how close they can get to ChatGPT's answer, or maybe how unique their answer is, etc., etc. In our example, the subnet owner tells validators to rank miners' answers based on the following criteria. 6 points for getting the color right, 2 points for brevity, being less than 20 characters long, and then 2 points for a response speed of less than 3 seconds. So for our hypothetical subnet, you can tell that the subnet owner wants miners to provide the right answer, be brief, and reply quickly. A validator, we'll call her Alice, will ask all the miners to tell her what color this is. Miner A replies with mauve in 2 seconds. Miner B replies with clear blue skies with no clouds in 4 seconds. Miner C replies with blue in 10 seconds. Miner D replies with cows jumping over the moon in 10 seconds. Miner A has given a poor answer, but very quickly and concisely, so they receive a 4 out of 10. Miner B has given a long but good answer in a reasonable time, so they receive a 7 out of 10. Miner C has given a short good answer, but it took them a while, so they receive an 8 out of 10. Miner D has given a lengthy bad answer very slowly, they receive 0 out of 10. So according to the subnet's incentive mechanism, Alice found that miner C was the best, followed by B and A. So Alice will rank the miners in this order. Bob, another validator, will ask the miners to tell him what color this is. Miner A replies with rose stripes in 8 seconds. Miner B didn't reply. Miner C replies with pink in 2 seconds. Miner D also didn't reply. Miner A has given a short, correct-ish answer, but it took them a while, so they get 5 out of 10. Miners B and D didn't reply after multiple validator attempts to reach the miners. They both get 0 out of 10. Miner C has given a short, good answer in good time. They receive a 10 out of 10. Carol, another validator, has gathered her own scores for the miners on this subnet as well. As humans, we can look at this example and see that miner C is likely the best at producing accurate color descriptions. Yuma Consensus takes the scores that all validators gave to miners and finds the weighted average. In this example, let's assume the validators have the same amount of tau. Miner A receives a Yuma Consensus score of 5 out of 10. B receives a 3, C receives a 9, and D receives a 1. So miner C will receive the most tau emissions, followed by A, B, and D. Why should validators care about rating a miner accurately? Couldn't they just run their own miners and give their own miners a 10 out of 10 to exploit the system? Validators have a score called VTrust. VTrust describes how close to the consensus a validator is. If Bob's scores stray too far from the average of all the other validators, Bob will receive drastically less of their take of the emissions, way less than the profit he might hope to make by giving his own miners more weight. So VTrust describes how good a validator is at matching the average of all other validators' scores for minors, and it affects the validator's emissions. In reality, validators probe minors for responses quite often. Depending on the subnet, validators may only check somewhere around 5% of the responses. So validators often only validate a subset of the requests they send to minors. This is because validation is usually quite computationally expensive. The rest of the requests from minors were genuine, non-tests. Let's jump back to the incentive mechanism for a second. These three criteria are just for our example. Subnet owners use a variety of different criteria when telling validators how to score minors. They might score unique, diverse answers better. Or maybe they score the most common answers better. Or they might even score minor responses according to what ChatGPT thinks of the responses. Or maybe they immediately disqualify minors if they don't reply. Anything goes. If it can be coded, it can be incentivized. Maybe they don't even use a scoring mechanism as we've described it here at all. Maybe there's no upper limit to the score. Anything can be coded, so anything can be incentivized. So I guess now you can impress your friends by telling them about fuzzy consensus for probabilistic truths that is also applicable to binary forms of data. In my next video, I'll go over how turbo encabulators work and how alignment with the parametric FAM is crucial to preventing side fumbling.